Hi family, I hope you are well. We'll see you again for a new video on your Barça Spotlight channel. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed and to everyone who is subscribing to our channel. We will debrief the victory of Barça, who play the match of the title of the Liga on the ground of its rival on a Catalan derby, the Spanish Barcelona. Barça wins the derby with a brilliant Lamine and wins La Liga. A superb goal from the winger broke the deadlock, prompting Cabrera's dismissal in the 80th minute and helping Fermín in the 2-0 final against an Espanyol team that will have to continue fighting to stay alive. It wasn't the electric and unpredictable Barça of the entire season, but a slow-motion version more typical of a not-so-distant era was enough to win the derby against Espanyol 0-2 and finally win La Liga. But it was enough, because Lamine Yamal came up with a great goal that did credit to the extraordinary championship led by Hansi Flick's team, concluded by Fermín's penalty in the 95th minute, already trailing by 10 points against Cabrera because of the red card in the 80th minute caused by Lamine. Espanyol will have to keep fighting to save themselves, but by fighting like this they should be able to do so without any problems. 3 setbacks, one already known since last Sunday, and 2 that occurred in the last few hours, have influenced Hansi Flick's lineup. The blow received by Pau Cubarsí in the last training session and Ferran's sudden appendectomy have been added to the suspension of Íñigo Martínez. The consequence, a new defensive center this season, but with a lot of experience from previous seasons, formed by Araujo and Christensen, and the return of Lewandowski to the starting 11 after his injury. He made an unsuccessful appearance in the final minutes of the Inter-Barça match and did not play in the Clásico. At Espanyol, 3 changes compared to the painful defeat at Leganés. Barça started the match at a trot, a poor choice against an Espanyol side that waited in its own half, intent on being aggressive in the build-up and stunning on the counter-attack. The difference in intensity was so marked early on that Urco, after a good pass from Roberto, found himself alone against Szczesny and missed the goal because he was too easy to see. He shot wide in the 4th minute, and Manolo Gonzalez's team demonstrated that they knew how to attack Barca's advanced defense. They had already done so in the second half of the Montjuic derby in the first round, 3-1. Knowing they had been forgiven didn't really move Barça, and Puado made a poor save from a good position in the 7th minute, and even though Lewandowski shot too far across the box into a hole he had created, Hansi Flick's men continued to relax, and Szczesny had to keep out Puado's goal, set up with his first touch by Edu Exposito, in a one-on-one in which the Pole performed miraculously. Pedri took the reins so that the leaders at least could have more possession and avoid unnecessary risks with dangerous losses. Rafinha, Pedri himself and Lamine, who was more efficient than effective in the first half, tried with little faith from outside the box, but between the posts, it was only a right-footed shot from the Brazilian, very easy for Joan Garcia. Barça also sinned by trying to make things too beautiful near the box. And even though Espanyol was no longer alone against Szczesny, he had the opportunity to do so with a couple of counterattacks that caused panic. Christensen beat Roberto in a sprint in the first round, and Puado chose the worst option in the second. Barça, however, almost scored just before halftime, thanks to an acrobatic half-turn from Lewandowski, who had confidence in a set piece. He missed it narrowly. Bald replaced Gerard Martin after the break, looking for more depth on the left flank. Flick appreciated that Espanyol had more players on the right to cover Lamine Yamal with assists. And perhaps that's why the winger, in the 53rd minute, didn't find a second player to oppose him when he faced Romero and unleashed a fantastic shot that went into the top corner. Far from the 0-1 draw that gave Barça solidity, absurd turnovers in the attacking zone led Espanyol to deploy counterattacks. Without success certainly, but they enlivened their players and their fans. Flick, who had already brought on Cubarsí in place of the limping Araujo, sought to create more spark with Fermín instead of Lewandowski, who was unfit for 90 minutes. Olmo was placed as a false 9. Barça began to have longer possessions, but with little depth, and the match entered the final 20 minutes with everything too open. And from a long ball and a doubt from Szczesny on the way out against Fermín resolved by Cubarsí, 2 corners were generated and Espanyol believed again. It was a derby without controversy, until Cabrera made a mistake by slapping Lamine Yamal while he was protecting the ball on the touchline. Unnecessary. Sotogrado didn't see it, but Iglesias Villanueva called it from the VR, and the analysis on the monitor ended with a straight red card in the 80th minute for the Espanyol center-back. But as I said, neither in the remaining 10 minutes of added time, nor in the 7 minutes of added time, was Barça able to dominate the pitch against an Espanyol that gave everything until the end, because it was still not saved, and that only bent its knees when Fermín scored the 0-2 in the 96th minute after an assist from Lamine Yamal. Hansi Flick's first league. The German coach made history by winning his first league title with Barcelona, leading a young and very impressive team. He promised work, dedication, and commitment. He quickly connected with his players and won over the Barça fans. This is Hansi Flick's La Liga, creator of a project destined to mark an era. Without renouncing the sacred essence of the style, the German brought more energy, verticality, pressure, recovery after defeat in life, a lot of life in the opponent's box to score more than the rival, as Cruyff wanted. And with a very advanced defensive line, well worked, and with no room for distraction. In short, Hansi Flick created a real steamroller, a goal machine, 97 goals in La Liga, dizzying and entertaining. He did it without asking for big signings, aware of the financial situation of a Barça team in the middle of a complete renovation of the Spotify Camp Nou and under the pressure of La Liga's financial fair play. Flick focused on several key areas to bring the team at his disposal. Only Dani Olmo and Pau Victor were signed, back to its competitive level. His work focused not only on tactics and strategy, but also on the mental and physical aspects of his team. Flick ensured that each player had an important role, creating true team cohesion, and one of his greatest contributions was his ability to get the most out of his players, with two names that explain his success: Rafinha and Frenkie de Jong, and his commitment to La Masia with total conviction. His path to success went hand in hand with the emergence of Lamine Yamal, the best footballer of the moment, and the legacy of Xavi Hernandez, his predecessor. Under his leadership, Lamine established himself as a unique and disruptive attacking player, despite his 17 years. Flick knew how to protect him and give him room to grow. At the same time, Robert Lewandowski found in Flick a coach who understood his movements and needs in the box, revitalizing his role as a goal scorer. They won and swept both Clásicos against Real Madrid, starting with a 0-4 at the Bernabeu in mid-October, the start of it all. He won at the Metropolitano and kept Cholo Simeone away from the title. He reeled off 7 consecutive wins early on, suffered a slump in November that continued into January, 6 points from 24, but was able to reinvigorate his squad, those players who never give up, to score 43 out of 45 and secure the final victory. Flick becomes the 10th Barça manager to win La Liga in his first season in charge, joining James Bellamy, Josep Samitier, Enrique Fernandez, Terry Venables, Louis van Gaal, Pep Guardiola, Tito Villanova, Luis Enrique, and Ernesto Valverde. Thank you for watching the video until the end. Thanks also to those who will take 2 seconds to like the video. Tell me what you think of the situation in the comment. Give us your opinions in the comment space. Share the video if you haven't already. Thanks again, good luck and see you soon for a new video.